selectors, and welcome back to the Life Burst podcast. I'm Tiffany, and I'm with
Whoa, who are you?
I'm Tiffany. No, I'm Andrew. I got so excited you were next to me, Tiffany. I said I'm Tiffany. Hi, I'm Andrew, and
I'm Tiffany, and we have a guest with us today.
Hi.
Hey, so this is Hannah. Hannah, you got you made it into top 4 in the GP in Vegas.
Hi. Yeah, I'm Hannah, the top 4 Nova player at the GP.
Congratulations!
I know.
Thank you.
You know what? Like, even though you got top 4, didn't get first place, I still think you came home with a pretty big. First off, a trophy. Congrats on that. But everyone's talking about it. Everyone's talking about how there's this random Nova that no one was expecting at all cracked into top 4.
I wasn't expecting it to be honest either. I'm very surprised to be here, but I'm very happy about it. I'm glad Nova did so well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Now I'm a pretty big Nova fan as well. So seeing that you made it in there with Nova of all things was just like a dream come true for me. And you did it out of all things on team as well. So you were playing the full Uchu team.
I feel like the first Nova is kind of just better than the second one. Like, I don't really know how to make the second one work personally.
What do you like about the first version of Nova?
Just like being able to like outlast everything or almost everything.
And then what didn't work for you with the second version of Nova? I know that for me personally, there's been a couple second versions of the rigs that I just do not like vibe with. Like the second version of Harana I don't vibe with. The second version of Talwell I don't vibe with either. So what about it made you say no, the second version of Nova is not for me?
Honestly, I haven't tried like playing it, but the idea doesn't seem as like inevitable. It can't like last as like forever. That makes sense.
Yeah, no,
it does make sense.
That's
actually.
a great way to say it. I came into the GP with my Tama deck feeling like I got a 50% matchup against everything. And I remember even saying this to myself, being like, even in the worst case scenario, I can always double attack with Tama and get damage through. And then I sat in front of you and realized, oh my god, I'm gonna face a guard every turn. This is
every single turn for the rest of the game.
So and you know, some other Esper decks like that where people were playing like Madoka theoretically could do even worse into it. I at least had an out that I could do 2 Elrig attacks a turn. Madoka can only do 1 Elrig attack every turn, so it's way harder for them to break through.
Madoka 2 is honestly hard. It's one of the harder matchups, I think, because of the Lurig freeze, especially if they double up with like Umar Clear or something.
Yeah.
And all the discard. If I don't have a hand, like, I can't use my guard every turn.
Yeah. But, you know, mentioning that, you actually have a fair amount of ways to refuel your hand or at least buffer against discard. I was pretty surprised by it when we played. You've got Innocent Battle as a way to... I mean, it only gets you a card, but it's still better than nothing. You've got your Energy Door that gets you cards. You've got 3 Gay Bogs, which is one more than usual, and a full 4 set of Aya over here. Yeah, which you were using really well in our game. I realized that every time I gave you any amount of enter by vanishing on the field, you'd always have a card back in hand, basically, because of it.
Yeah, a lot of that stuff is teched for discard specifically. Like, sometimes if they just have, like, a critical mass, it's hard to recover from. It does make the matchup, like, a little more tolerable.
Did you find that you were having any trouble with controlling enter to pay for costs with, as well as playing a 4 set of II since you're getting things back from your enter?
Sometimes, not all the time. Mostly against Remember taxing. II being in action is so bad in that situation.
Yeah, that makes sense. And speaking of Remember, you got no Remembers in here, but you do. I was actually looking over the deck list, and you've got a very, very, very consistent card base. I mean, the bottom line I'm looking at right here on Dexys of your life bursts is just one. You decided, for as far as life bursts go, you
Yeah.
wanted a 4 4 4 4 and 4. And they all seem pretty defensive as well. Like, you've got 4 Akufuku here. What made you decide that you
Yeah.
wanted to centralize in these specific cards for life bursts?
Yeah, they're all mostly like the strongest bursts that stop damage. Like Akafuku can stop all Signy damage. I actually didn't get many good ones at GP, but the idea is for it to save me damage so I can outlast. Futase also is like one of the only bursts that can stop Lurig attacks, which helps against Tama and stuff.
That's absolutely a pretty solid base of
Yeah.
bursts. I mean, and they all, like you said, they all stop damage with the exception of Servant, but I mean, Servant can get back a Servant, which stops damage.
Yeah.
So.
It's all damage prevention. So you've really built this to be an incredibly long game centered, very defensive deck. Do you think that that's kind of what put you over the edge as opposed to some of the faster moving decks during the GP?
Yeah, my plan is mostly to outlast anything. There's really very little damage in this deck. I can't like go faster than anything.
Yeah, you're mostly leaning on that sort of inevitability, right? Like with the fact that Nova, it doesn't matter if Nova wins on turn 8 or turn 15, it still wins through its Elrig attacks. I suppose the only the speed that you've got is, I see that Nova has the bounce on its enter ability. Energy Door vanishes something. And then Komai is really good at getting those double attacks in.
That's basically all I have, though. I don't have anything in like the level 1 or 2 slots like other faster decks.
Yeah.
The level 1 and 2s are mostly meant to like block damage by being immune.
Yeah, which they do pretty well. I mean, Zhao Yun has always been the girl laughing at Lancelot.
Yeah.
But Picture Frame's no slouch either. Not only can it get itself 8,000 power, which is above most things that it can vanish, you can give itself plus 4,000 to get it up to 12k, which is pretty big.
I kind of wish there was more space for more Picture Frames because it is also a good wall, but the one of in here is for comboing with Komei. Trying to push for is pretty like risky. Like it's like 3 chances to get bursted, and I just really don't want to get bursted because that means more damage that I don't prevent.
It's true. I mean, the fact of the matter is, even if you were only doing 1 damage a turn with just your Elrig, you're basically immune to life bursts at that point, because anything that would happen is just, it's already over. Like the damage has been done. We've moved forward. They're not stopping anything. Of course, it could open up lanes, of course, but outside of that, like all of these things that down and freeze, you're like, okay, whatever.
So what made you decide to go with this deck for the GP? And the answer can totally be Nova's my favorite.
That's kind of the answer. I've been playing Nova since she was released in set 3. I've been playing Uchu with Tamago Center since that starter deck was released. So I've kind of just gotten used to it, and it just feels most comfortable, like playstyle wise too. I did try like a Tama deck, and it just didn't click as much. Like I felt I was like just trying to build it like Uchu, so I figured I should just play Uchu because I'm more comfortable with it.
I actually think that that's a totally fair reason to go with the deck that you did. Outside of just wanting to play the favorites, which automatically like makes you more comfortable with the deck, deciding on what playstyle you are more inclined to and working with like your natural strengths obviously worked out very well for you for the GP. So I think you definitely made the right call. Not to mention a team-based Nova Center threw everybody for a loop, I'm sure.
Every single time I played Random Drain, they just like chose which one they wanted to discard, and I was like, no, it's actually random because I'm in teams.
That's right.
And it screws. It's crazy. So one other thing too is with like I realized when I was playing you specifically, because again, I will full on tell everyone who's listening, I was one of the people that was like, yeah, I'll choose this. And then you were like, truly random. And I was like, right,
Yeah.
right, duh, I know this.
No one remembered it.
um,
Yeah.
but so when the game goes long and you refresh, which, I mean, you didn't technically refresh, you technically have Innocent Battle, and we'll talk about Innocent Battle in a
Yeah.
second, because it's a really cool piece that you decided to add on to it. When you go long with this, the more shots that you have at that word random, the better the chances are it's going to hit something that's truly going to screw the opponent. In our matchups, you
Yeah.
did snipe 2 guards in 2 different games out of my hand with that truly random drain, and it changed the pace of the game for the rest of it.
Yeah, that's mainly the reason it's still in here. It's I guess also one of my only sources of damage in the deck.
Yeah, I mean, stripping a guard is damage, right?
Yeah.
Well, it prevents damage prevention. So yes, I would inadvertently
Yeah.
call it damage pushing, I suppose.
Yeah.
Either that or you end up sniping something big like a Remember or an Exia.
Yeah,
Your
those
opponent's
help
hand, something
too.
that's going to be very defensive on their end.
Yeah.
So speaking of team stuff, let's talk about those pieces. You decided not to run. Well, oh God, why am I brain farting on the name of the piece that
Of the team
Hanpanai?
Hanpai Destruction? Yeah.
Hanpanai.
Hanpanai.
It's good, but I feel like I just didn't have enough discard in this deck to like justify keeping Hanpanai, because like I'm not like always able to discard them down every turn, so it doesn't really do as much as it would.
Right. So it's not
if
like
I was building discard.
Right. So it's not like a critical mass, is what you're trying to say.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
Energy Door does everything that you're looking to do anyways, by just preventing more damage, opening up a lane to help speed up the game a little bit, but also, finish. If you need the enter, you need the draw, you've got it there. Though both those things are options.
Yeah. Energy Door, I felt like it would help me like last longer with the damage block and getting like one more lane open.
Mm-hmm.
And also the draw or the enter can like help against discard, or the getting enter from trash actually is a really great synergy with II, because like I can get any like level 3 I want from my trash and then revive it with II.
Yeah.
Yeah, good move.
It's a really great combo actually.
Yeah, I think one of the cool things too that it solves, that I played the Nova deck in Ceremony 2, Ceremony 3, can't remember.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the issues that I had with Nova that eventually led me to retire it was there's this sort of like tug and pull with Nova's ability, right? You've got to stack all of your stuff in there, and in order to stack all your stuff, you need to have grown all your Elrics, right? But Bang to Capo is one of those ones that you want to hold on to maybe a turn longer than you normally would, and Energy Door kind of inadvertently solves that problem, right? By blocking a guard, it frees you, not blocking a guard, excuse me, blocking an Elrig attack. It frees you to hold that Bang to Capo one extra turn and not have to immediately go for the Nova stack in order to get your guard.
That's kind of the most painful part about the deck, actually, because you're meant to outlast, but you do kind of have to rush out your assists. And so, like, I wish I could just, like, hold on to a Day's Shield for the entire game until I'm at 0. But this team just doesn't have that.
Yeah, makes total sense. But, when we're talking about this outlasting stuff, you've got Innocent Battle, which took me for a complete loop the first time we played. Like, I will admit that since we were in after that, I was able to recalibrate and figure out how to go around it. But the first time around, when I milled you out with my what do you call it? Not even milled you out. I milled you down to like 3 or 2 with the Ultra Superheroes, and they were like, cool, Innocent Battle.
Yeah.
Shuffle it all back in, no damage. I went, okay.
I was pretty glad when you did that, because I just don't take damage from superheroes. Yeah, Innocent Battle is like the only way to not take mill damage.
Mm-hmm.
Getting milled out by superheroes I figured was gonna be common. And like Phalaris. This actually isn't entirely my idea. My friend Ray, I'd like to shout out, told me about this piece, and I was like, no way, I've never read this.
Yeah,
but it like works so well. he just thinks of so many random cards that I've never read and like makes such good use of them.
I feel like we all
I
have
too,
those
actually.
encyclopedia friends. Like friends that
Yeah.
just like know all 800 plus cards somehow. That's awesome.
Yeah, and you're
Yeah.
if I remember correctly, are you from the turn zero game area?
Yeah, yeah, he's one of the Turn Zero players. I used to go there, but I moved. I haven't been able to go anymore. My new store, Winners, it does have a lot of strong players too, though. Alex was, yeah, he was also in top 8. He was one of the Madoka players.
Oh,
Oh.
yeah. Gotcha. I think that was Pigeon is his
Yeah,
Discord card. Yeah.
yeah, his username,
Yeah,
I
I've played
think.
against him several times. He's pretty scary to play against as
Yeah,
well.
yeah, that deck beats me a lot too. And also, Sebastian or Scott, Tama with, I believe, top 4 player,
Yep,
the other
Starfruit.
top 4 player, practice with Sebastian with the Tama Esper deck with the Umer Clear.
Yep.
That one's really hard to beat for me.
Yeah. So
Too.
I just talked to them earlier today to do the interview, and
Oh yeah.
the Starfruit wanted Scob there as well because they both basically created the deck together.
Yeah, that
So
deck is really good.
yeah, no, it's fantastic. I'm thrilled to start playing against it a little bit as well.
Yeah.
But I will say this. I love Bang to Capo. All right, I'm just gonna I'm just gonna take a soapbox here real quick, stand on it, and just say Bang to
Yeah.
Capo has got the coolest art in the entire of Wecross. I know that's a hot take.
Yeah, it does.
It's
Why is
got
it
such a dope art.
It's pretty cool, yeah.
Why is saying that something has good art a hot take?
I feel like someone else is gonna be like, yeah, but have you seen this card? You know,
There's a lot of really great art in Wecross. I think we can
Yeah,
all
there's just
agree.
a lot.
So you said that the was it the Madoka with the Umer Clear deck is a tough
Yeah.
matchup for you. What were some of your other tougher matchups that you faced, or that you have found this deck kind of struggles against?
It's mostly those are definitely the most scary for me. I played Starfruit in my round 2, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the only round in Swiss I lost.
Well, congrats on taking an early loss and then like a champ still
Yeah.
winning the rest of the way through. It's tough to do that kind of thing. It takes
tough.
a certain type of more fortitude that is difficult.
Yeah, after that I was like I thought the pressure was off, but like then I just kept going and the pressure started to come back.
Yeah, I sort of had that too. Like my stomach unclenched around round 3 for me to like, all right, I can stuff my face a little bit finally because I couldn't eat the entire morning before. So I ate a little bit, and then I
Oh
like
yeah.
at some point I was like, oh wait, this means that I could potentially still top 8. So now the pressure's back on and like reclenched.
Yeah. It
Speaking
was so hard to find time for that.
Yes, it was. I'm glad that everybody, was like drinking their water, taking their breaks as needed and such. It was nice to see. Speaking of pressure mounting, after your match with Andrew, you then went straight into the next match, which ended up getting you 4th place. Can you tell us a little bit about that match?
That was against the eventual winner of the
Mm.
tournament, the first placed Japanese Atoms player, which makes me feel like a little less bad about it, that at least he won. That was really hard because I was pretty exhausted from like the entire day, and especially the match before, which lasted like
2 hours. Hard agree.
2 hours.
Hard agree.
Yeah.
I saw that we were paired up for each other, and I went, well, they're gonna learn a lesson about why
Yeah.
they shouldn't do best of 3 because
Yeah.
we're both the stall decks.
Yeah.
It was a long day for everyone.
Yeah, so I was pretty exhausted. I was making a lot of misplays. Like, I kind of feel bad that, like, I could have played a little better because I feel like the Atom matchup isn't too bad for me. But I think he was just really good of a player, and I was caught off guard by Garden of Singularity.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, lyric damage is like almost all of the damage I get, so like it does make it really hard for me in that matchup.
Yeah, makes total sense to me. Plus, it helped that we gave him a plenty of time to go get dinner because we had the longest line and everyone else finished like an hour before us.
Yeah.
All right, so we got a pretty good feel of how the deck functions and how this worked for GP for you. You know, it's now GP's in the rear view. We're going to be going up to GP2 sometime soon in the winter.
That's what they said. Winter GP at some
Oh
point.
yeah.
If you had any ideas of what you might update, some cards you might put in here or some cards you might take out, what do you think are the strongest cards that you might buff? Some of the ones that you might that didn't work as well as you thought you might take away.
I'm not sure. Space is really tight in this deck. It feels like really hard to make adjustments. Sometimes I feel like a random drain might not be worth it, but like it is really good when it works. Fenrir, I feel like, is probably the best answer for the Atom matchup. If they just have an H2O, I can just freeze her. And like, I even just like looped a Fenrir with eyes in one of my matches against an Atom player in the Swiss. I kind of wish I could have more Fenrirs even, but like, I also wish I could have more picture frames. It's just really, really tight in this deck.
Yeah, super tight balancing act. I agree with you.
Yeah.
Fenrir was I was weirdly glad to only know that you had two in the deck when you played, because Fenrir frightens the hell out of me as a Tama control player. If Fenrir is a real boss, Signy.
Yeah, Fenrir is good. Because picture frame is so risky, like I could get bursted 3 times. That's why I just have her at 1. She's basically like a secret weapon.
Yeah.
Like as a finisher, like if they think I can only do 2 damage, like I can, if I happen to have her in my hand or enter zone, I can get in for 3.
Yeah.
And they won't be able to block it.
Absolutely, makes sense to me.
Yeah, this seems like a pretty balanced deck, and you seem to have like tuned it very much to like how you like to play, and it's clearly worked out for you. So I wouldn't be surprised if you really don't do much tweaking to this. It's very, very concise.
Yeah, you're no slouch at the knowing what cards to play. I mean, the keeping. A lot of players would have gotten rid of the Aya pretty quickly after its initial use, but you keeping it out there and really refusing, oftentimes doing your 3-3-1 splits or whatever, to do more like a 2-2-3 split, so that way I never had a clean way to vanish one lane and attack through. It was always super annoying that you had 8,000 and 10,000s. I just couldn't push through.
Yeah. II is just so important. Like without II, the deck doesn't really have a way of recurring whatever I want every turn, like how a black deck does.
Yeah.
So it really helps like answer like whatever situation I have to. Like if I need to Fenrir freeze an H2O, or if I need to like Gabelge remove a remember or something. Yeah, or if I just want to get an Exia back.
Using that enter zone as sort of your toolbox instead of your trash as a toolbox is a really smart move.
I think so as well, and I think that that particular strategy as using your enter zone almost as like an extension to your hand, I think that scares off a lot of players because they would much rather be using their enter zone as a way to pay for effects, but you're using it as, like you said, an extension of your library, basically. And the effect is playing your Signies again, which is fantastic because all of your Signies do something. Except for Akufuku, a big, awesome life burst card, so she gets a pass.
Yeah, let's be clear here. Tiffany is a huge fan of Akufuku.
I'm a huge fan of Akufuku.
Yeah.
Okay? Say it louder for the people in the back.
She's mainly there for, like, the life burst, which can, like, if it blocks, like, 2 or 3 off, like, a trigger victory, it's just, like, crazy.
Yeah, you do feel like the world is your oyster when you block off of the trigger victory, you hit this, and then they just look at it and they go, I guess I don't do anything this turn.
Yeah, and being, like, 10k is pretty good, too. Like, I'd rather she was a 12k, but there are a lot of, like, particularly, like, the white bursts that vanish at 8k, or black bursts.
Yep.
That she gets around.
Yeah, it's a good wall. I ran bucklers in my my Tama build, specifically for that reason too, just being like, there are just some, like, if you get paired against a Dash Hirana, for example, you just gotta be like, well, I need something. It does not matter that it does not do anything. That 10,000 is relevant, and it survives.
I actually never played. I never ran into any Dash Hiranas at GP, which like I thought would be more common because like it was pretty hyped up, but like I just never ran into it.
Yeah, I think there was 8 in total. I ran into one round 1, which was terrifying. Because I went like, this is the matchup. I'm gonna just pretend like I have any control over, and I'm just gonna pretend like I can avoid it, you know. And then immediately, you know, we're like open, and we flip over into Dasharana. And I'm like, okay, yep, here it is. My nightmares on turn round 1.
Yeah. I actually don't think I ran into any dashes either. I ran into some really interesting, like, red white whatever aggro decks, but I don't think any of them were specifically dash. Are there any matchups that you feel your deck does particularly well against? Like, we've discussed the ones that the decks that you can go up against that make you a little nervous, but are there any decks that you look at and you're just like, this will not be a problem?
Yeah, I've got this one.
It's kind of most things that aren't like Deus or Madoka or particular Tama Umar Clear deck. I feel like it's still pretty decent against most things. Tama, I'm kind of less scared of like pure mono white than I am of the mono white main deck and Esper Lyric deck one.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. I mean, against mono white, what's the worst they can do? Bounce something to your hand? Cool, you've got it for next turn, and that's probably going to do, you know, like they bounce a Fenrir to your hand, great, freeze both those things again, you know.
Yeah, and yeah, I have a lot of, well, all of my level 1s are like walls for matchups like that where they want to push damage early.
So you're saying that against most aggro decks, this Nova can basically probably have a pretty strong shot at winning.
I think so if I can last to like turn 3 or 4, but sometimes you kind of just like take 4 damage on turn 2. There's not much you can do about it because you get bursted.
Yeah, I remember one game in one of my ceremonies when I was playing Nova. I was playing against a card jockey player. He's actually the guy who got the highest, Anthony. He got the highest placing Dash Hirana for this GP.
Oh.
He was playing against me, and he was like, "All right, well, I've already pushed a lot of damage in, so I probably got this with the endless punchline, right?" And we were just joking around the whole game, and I was like, "I don't know, man. I'm at 6 life cloth," and he was like, "Wait, I've only dealt 1 damage to you this game so far?" I was like, "Yeah," and he was like, "I'm not winning this game."
Oh my god! Yeah.
It feels like that sometimes with Nova. It's like you're basically like, did I hit turn 4, and do I have more than 4 life cloth? If the answer is yes, I probably win.
Yeah. Yeah, if you survive the early game, then you can usually just keep going.
That is something that I have noticed, like playing against like really, really aggro decks like Dash Hirana, is that if you can just make it past the amount of gas they have in their flamethrower, if you can get past that point, you are very likely to win the game. And with the way that you've constructed your deck to be like an inevitable win with as much like longevity as you've built into it, I think that's the strategy that works out very well.
Well, Hannah, I think we got a good feeling of how this deck functions, as well as like the balance between all the cards. You know, what might change in the future, what might not change, as well as why you decided to bring it to the GP in the first place. So I think we're good to go, unless there's anything else about the deck you wanted to shout out.
I'd just like to shout out Ray again for coming up with a lot of these ideas. Innocent Battle, and like II and Gablage. I wasn't running Gablage before in Nova, but it really does help clearing Remembers and H2Os sometimes. Like if I can also get Energy Door down on it. But I think that's it mostly.
All right, Hannah. Well, thank you for joining us and talking about the deck. You know I'll always take a good chance to talk about a Nova deck, especially an Uchu Nova deck.
Thank you so much. And congratulations again. You did amazing.
Yeah, thank you.
See you at the next GP.
We hope everyone listening and Hannah flips more life bursts.
Akufukus.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.